Hello and welcome back to Long Shot Ballerinas, a podcast for adults pursuing excellence in ballet. My name is Sasha, and on this week's episode, I'd like to discuss authenticity, both in our online and our real-world lives. So grab your beverage of choice and let's get started. All right, so admittedly, I haven't done a ton of preparation for today's episode. And the reason being is I didn't decide on the subject matter until about, I guess this is Thursday, so 2 days ago on Tuesday. I'm recording this on Wednesday. So it kind of centers around a dilemma I had about a post I wanted to make on social media. So a little bit of backstory for this discussion is that if you're not following me on Instagram at Longshot Ballerina, first of all, go do that, but then come back. And so if you're not following me, I had been preparing for a short, small little roll of the snow pas de deux that comes from the Nutcracker. And it was my first pas de deux since, 2012. So, 11 years since I'd done it. It was kind of I wouldn't say a big deal, but I was super excited about this opportunity. So that's what I've been preparing for. And it's just for a little gala performance, a fundraiser for our performance group here in Chicago. And so, so I'd had that. That performance happened on December 1st. And I ended up with 2 recordings from that day, one from our dress rehearsal run through, and then a second one from the actual performance. And we did both of those on the same day. So we kind of met up in the afternoon, and then we had a little warm up, then we did our dress rehearsal, a little break, and then we actually did the show. Now, obviously, I have an Instagram. The point of the Instagram is to share my experience not coming back to ballet, but sort of pushing myself in my technique and artistry, and ultimately pursuing a goal of a career in professional performance. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But that is the point of my Instagram, is to share. So I have fully intended on posting a full run through, either the dress rehearsal video or the performance video, on my social media. But I was having some issues deciding which video to post. Eventually, I got it in my head that I was going to splice the two together. They were taken from different angles. One has, of course, the full audience. The other one has a smaller audience. But in my head, I'm like, you know what? There's so many things that I like from both videos and dislike. And I would really like to avoid posting anything that I don't like and only post the bits that I did like. And funny enough, most of them, what we did great in the dress, we didn't do so great in the performance, and vice versa. And so that's what I had decided. And I was like, okay, well, as soon as I get some time, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to edit these 2 videos together so I can present my best self to the internet. And this is where I was finding myself procrastinating on this task. This is not a difficult task. The thing itself is only 3.5 minutes. I'm always editing things. I'm pretty quick at that. I even knew everything, kind of how I was going to do it and transition and etc. To make it a really polished product to share with you all. But I was procrastinating it. And the more I tried to decide what to do, the more I was getting upset and just feeling like I didn't want to share it at all. I watched them over and over again. I would watch them, downtime at work. I would watch them coming home on the train. Anytime I would just kind of look through and go, okay, well, this might actually be all right. And then as soon as I'd convince myself of that, then I'd see something else I hadn't noticed before that I hated. And I'd say, you know what? It's not worth it. I'm not ready to share this. I'm not ready to show what I've been working on. So I guess about 11 days later, after the performance, after I had 2 video examples of all of the work I had been putting into this particular role, I kind of got fed up with myself and had a little bit of an epiphany. I realized that I was being not only a perfectionist, but I was being disingenuous to the people that have been supporting me, meaning you guys who are following me. Not too many of my close family and friends know about my ballet account. I have actually, if you didn't listen to the other episodes, I have actually blocked everybody that I know from the Long Shot Ballerina. So yeah, I was lying to all of you by omission. And what I mean by that is the whole point of my Instagram is to share my journey of this crazy, ridiculous thing I'm trying to do. And the reason for that sharing is to hopefully inspire some of you, maybe even just one of you, to go after whatever crazy dream you're harboring. And it could be anything. You might have a completely different goal to me, but that's the whole point of my social media, is to provide some insight into not only the really amazing things that have happened to me recently, but also the really crappy things, like having a performance you're not proud of, or not being as perfect as you wish that you were. But despite that, still sharing those moments so that that vulnerability hopefully encourages you when you hit your own vulnerable moments to keep going, to go, okay, you know what? It wasn't the best. It wasn't exactly what I wanted it. I don't love what happened. But you know what? If you told me a year ago that I was going to get this opportunity to, work on a partnering role again for the first time in 11 years, I would have probably cried. I mean, I did. I cried when I got the role. So how have I lost sight of that objective so quickly? Within 2 months, all of a sudden, I got used to it. We get used to things so quickly, and we forget so quickly. And I think I do more than most people, And I was really upset when I realized all of this. I was, kind of having this thought. It was shower thoughts. What is it about the shower? I'm sure there's some science on that, but I'm having this thought in the shower, and I'm just like, I think I started laughing because I was like, wow, Sasha, good job. Good job for being the antithesis of the thing that you were trying to be. And it was a really good wake up. And so as soon as I got out of the shower, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I rewatched the dress rehearsal one more time. I rewatched the performance one more time. And I thought to myself, which one makes me feel more? And funnily enough, it was the dress rehearsal. So I chose the dress rehearsal. I put a little snow filter over it because I thought that was hokey and cute. And then I threw it up there. I threw it on my Instagram, and kind of in the middle of the night. I think it was 11 p.m. Not optimizing for views, maybe that was subtly, subconsciously some self-sabotage. I'm not sure. Ooh, I'll have to unpack that one too. But, I just put it up there without trying to make any big deal out of it. I'm like, you know what? Just share the stupid thing. Just put it on the internet and see what happens. And I felt so free, and I felt so much more like myself. It was like I was walking down a pathway that was turning me in a direction away from my true purpose and my true personality and how I am in my regular life. And I don't want to end up like that. And so I'm so glad that I realized it, and I was able to kind of stop it right there. Because I think in the past, month or two, I've been slowly falling down that direction of only show the good things on your Insta. And I think, when I come on to talk once in a while, then I'm pretty open, and I'm just sort of chatty. It's, I'm feeling chatty that day, or something happened and I want to share it or whatever. And that's cool. But the things I was curating and posting, the permanent things, because, the stories go away. But when you post something on your feed or you post a reel, it's there. It's there forever, at least as long as you don't delete it or archive it or whatever. And those things I think we all just pay attention to a little bit too much because it's permanent. And actually, my boyfriend and I were talking, Matt was on last week, the podcast, and we were talking about recently how he has trouble with that. He has trouble posting anything on social media because it feels so representative of himself. And I started thinking about that in this context too. And yeah, I think we all want to show, the people online only see our lives through the information and the lens that we give to them, right? Whatever you know about me is whatever I have told you or whatever I have allowed you to know based on what I post on my Instagram. So it can feel really good to want to control that, because I think a lot of times in our regular lives, maybe we don't have control over we do not have control over how people perceive us, right? We go to work and we just are hopefully ourselves. We hopefully are feeling free to be ourselves. And people might misinterpret us. It happens to me at work. Happens to me at work a lot. I see a lot of different people out in the world, in the sky. And, it may not be the way we intend it to be. It may not be the best slice of ourselves. Maybe we're frustrated at a project, or maybe we express something a little too vehemently that, that tiny slice of our personality that gets presented to those around us may not be the whole picture. It definitely isn't the whole picture, right? But someone snap judges you. And I think we are trying so hard to use social media to avoid that we end up just painting this picture that's so unrealistic. I mean, we know that that's true. And people use it, companies use it as marketing, and celebrities use it as they're controlling their image. That's kind of like part of their job, is to present this image that's consistent and aesthetically pleasing and etc. And I think we have so many of those examples that we just naturally want to do that ourselves with our social media. I think a lot of the times we're not doing this consciously, we're doing this subconsciously. We're repeating what we see. It's the mirror exposure effect, right? We are exposed to that thing, and therefore we are more likely to replicate it, whether we know it or not. You know, I wasn't choosing actively, like I said, I wasn't choosing actively to not share this. I was omitting it. I was just kind of hemming and hawing and hoping it went away. But, you know, I think somebody, I can't remember who I was messaging, but you know, they mentioned, oh, I can't wait to see your recording of that, you know, and I think that's what kind of got me started trying to resolve this feeling of just like being inadequate and being unsatisfied with this product I had to share. You know, I was like, well, I have it already. You know, it's been a week. It's been over a week. It's been 10 days. And I have it. I have it already. It's right here. I have it. You know, I hadn't even sent it to my parents yet. That's how just like, I don't know, freaked out I was, I guess, and just overly concerned. And yeah, I think, you know, to talk a little bit more broadly about authenticity online, and especially in our adult ballet community, I think there are a lot of great examples if you go out and kind of search the smaller accounts. And I'm talking about, like, you know, those of us have under 500 followers, you know, the kind of a smaller community that they are being authentic. But then I also see a lot of adult dancers that are curating highly. They're curating everything to the point where sometimes I see accounts that don't even post their actual dancing. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of photos of outfits or of, you know, just things that are either aesthetically pleasing or are, I'm trying to think of the right way to describe it, but maybe you know what I'm talking about. And they won't post anything of them messing up, or they won't just post, you know, the straight footage of class. And I'm guilty of it as well. So don't, you know, definitely, this is not, I know for sure, you know, pot and kettle. But I think that stems for, and I'm definitely not like criticizing those people, because we're all allowed to do whatever we want and to be respected and welcomed into the community, regardless of what you choose to show online. You do not have to. That is not a requirement. It's it can be very invasive. It can be really bad for you if you're just not someone who can handle that emotionally or mentally very well. So please don't think that I'm calling anybody out. I'm not. But I just think it's really interesting. I wonder why that those people do that. Is it because they feel like they are inadequate? Do they feel like they don't have enough to share? Do they feel unworthy of, I'm just kind of asking questions out there rhetorically. Obviously, this is a podcast. You can't talk to me right now. But you know what I mean? It makes my heart a little sad, because if I'm feeling those feelings, certainly someone with less experience than me, like I'm by no means any type of, you know, professional or whatever, but I am a more advanced dancer, and I've had, you know, a little bit more advanced performance opportunities in my life, you know, throughout my life. But what does a person who maybe is just starting out, or someone who, you know, has insecurities that bother them more frequently than mine do? Mine, thankfully, don't rear their heads too often. But if I'm feeling this way, how is somebody like that? You know, how is somebody who is maybe feeling quite intimidated? How do they feel they can share online? You know, are they feeling like they shouldn't because who am I to? You know what I mean? So if you're somebody who is feeling like that and you're listening, I would love to know what your real insides are saying to you. Like, what's your opinion on this? Like, how do you feel you use your social media adds or detracts from your experience in our ballet community, in the adult ballet dancer community? Do you feel intimidated? I'm really curious to know about that type of experience. So if you'd like to, please, you can DM me on Instagram at The Long Shot Ballerina. Even if you don't follow me, you don't have to, but go find me and send me a message. I would would really like to know what your thoughts on this are. Because I think at the end of the day, we're trying to build a supportive community. And I think if our community consists of a large group of people who are just too afraid to show their struggles too, I would like for all of us to try and help remedy that, so that if the person wants to, if they are comfortable, they can post those things that are less than great. And they can feel like being their authentic self, because we're all super supportive. And I know that we are. I think that's the funniest thing, is that, no, I don't know anybody on this platform or anyone in my real life who would just like tear somebody down. I don't know anybody like that who would go in and just, destroy somebody who's just sharing something that they're proud of, but maybe isn't perfect. I don't know anybody who would do that. So I'm hoping that, those two sides of things, the support plus the people that feel a little self-conscious, I'm hoping we can bridge that gap a little bit if it does exist in the large numbers that I feel like it does sometimes. I don't know. Again, I'm kind of just seeing it, my little slice of the internet. It's certainly not comprehensive, and it certainly, this doesn't apply to everybody. But yeah, that's how I feel. That's what I feel called to do when I'm sharing things like this. It's the reason why I started this podcast, to be able to talk about these kinds of thoughts that I have in my head, and to hopefully be an example myself. I think that's what I'm going to do, maybe for the week of Christmas. We'll see. I'll come up with something clever or whatever. And maybe we can do like a hashtag or something. I don't know. Follow me on Instagram. Make sure you're keeping up, because I'm going to make this a little project for myself, and maybe like posting only the worst things, all of the mistakes. Let's see the most turned in pirouette, I got lots of examples. I know we all do. And I think that could be kind of fun, just to see us all just like screwing up, let's maybe turn it on its head. We'll see. I'll come up with something and I'll let you know. But that's the whole point, is to be myself on the internet, be an example of that. It's why I talk about my neurodivergencies, and I'm really open with it now at work. I just tell people, I'm like, hey, I have, I'm on the autism spectrum. I usually say I'm autistic. I say that, and I have ADHD, and sometimes it goes well and sometimes it doesn't go well. But I know, at least at the end of the day, I was my whole self. And then maybe that is a good example for those people. These are not dance people. These are just like flying partners, or maybe it's a passenger that I've connected with and I'm talking to. And I try to make sure that I say that to them, so that they get an example of, oh, hey, look, this is a person who has a different brain than me, but look at what they're doing, like they can, to slowly dismantle kind of the stereotypes around those particular neurodivergencies, because they're not very well known, and they kind of have like a one note type of a reputation with the public. So this is a separate example from ballet, but I think it's applicable. And I think that having that same mentality in sharing my dance journey with all of you it's really important to me. And it's the only way I sleep at night, to be perfectly honest. I think that's why I was having kind of, trouble sleeping this last week. That was like subconsciously in the back of my head, like, what are you doing? You're not being yourself. Like, why would you do that? And I'm usually like so good at that. I'm usually so myself. I'm so weird. I'm the weirdest person. Okay. Like on my time off, like literally today, I just walked around for like an hour and a half looking for my crow friends, as I have 3 crow friends that trained to like catch almonds in their mouths and stuff. And I just walk around, and if I see them, I say hi. Even if there's people around, I'm like, hi birds, hi, what are you doing? Do you want a snack? That's how they know, they come and find me. I wear the same hat, whatever. Like, I'm this crazy weird bird lady. Like, that's kind of what I do. And I have no problem doing that. But for some reason, I got it into my head that I have to be this like perfect manicured, like whatever, bunhead. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I withheld that video. Maybe nobody cares. Here's my self-consciousness creeping in the background. But I'm sorry that that's what I let get a hold of me for those 10 days. And and I vowed to do better. I vowed to show more of the struggle, more of the struggle. So that way, one, it makes a really good comparison when you get something right. You're like, oh, wow, did you see her like turn in those pirouettes last week? And now this week, look at that. She's like getting that heel forward. You know what I mean? I mean, it's wonderful, I think, to see people's progression. And I see it all the time, especially some people I follow personally, and I just kind of like check in with them and stuff. And I see people improve. It's so exciting, so exciting. So, I'm sorry that I took that opportunity for someone to, look at me and go, oh my gosh, look at her do that. I could probably do that too. I see myself in this person. I can improve. I can, change my dancing from turned in to turned out. I'm so sorry that I let that happen. And just allow me to take responsibility, okay? Nobody needs to come to my, I don't hate myself, or anything, but I think it's really important to reflect on the choices that we make, especially when we kind of have I have the tiniest, babyest little platform. It's the tiniest one, but I love talking to all of you. And I'm so disappointed in myself for letting myself fall down this inauthentic little hole. It was just a little like pothole in the road, but I stepped in it and twisted my ankle, and I sat on the ground for a while trying to contemplate what to do. And now I'm here on this podcast telling you about it. So I think honestly, that's all I have for today. I was a little bit ranty, so thank you for listening in. Like I said, if you're not following me, please do so. The Long Shot Ballerina on Instagram. Check out our other episodes. I think, this is the 6th one. So I'm so excited. We're almost to 10. Well, we're over the halfway point. And feel free to send me messages on social media. I love connecting with everybody and talking about ballet and life in general. So I hope you have a great rest of your, what's today? Oh yeah, Thursday. I hope you're going to have a great weekend. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, whatever time it is for you. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.